Hello. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, no longer Los Angeles, California. My name's Brian Engelman. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025, and this here is the T-Nam Daily Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. And you know you have been failed. You know it's been propaganda. Oh, if we could just go back to the good old days of Walter Cronkite and a couple of people, Dan Rather. Oh, these people were so unbiased. They said, oh, no, they weren't. They never were. The newspapers never were. The newspapers were outlets purchased by the richest people to push their ideas, to make sure that the masses would support whichever candidate would propose the policy that would make them the most money. We know. And occasionally you had people that got involved in government and in politics because, well, and in media. Sorry, government and politics, mostly the same thing. And media, because they cared and they wanted to make the world a better place. But what do we have now? Is that the case? Is that the case in media? Well, some media, yeah, I think so. I think what we've watched is a reconfiguration, a recalibration of the media market with social media. And it's a good thing. Let the propagandists propagandize. That was one of the first things Obama did, was he changed the Smith-Mundt Act so that they could push propaganda. I don't think it means you can commit a coup. I don't think it means you can commit treason. I don't think it means you can do what you did to weaponize our government against Donald Trump, both before the campaign with the fake FISA warrants based on the fake Russian dossier paid for by Hillary Clinton, Perkins Coie, and all of that. And then when President Trump won, I don't think you're able to run a shadow government from behind the scenes with Clapper, Brennan, Comey, all of the deep state actors involved, along with a rogue, lying legacy media and a censorship regime of the social media tech giants. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, Instagram, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, X. And I don't think you can then frame him for an insurrection because he called for his supporters to go peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard, because so many people watched President Trump up by hundreds of thousands of votes when we're supposed to be declaring the winner. All right, declare it. We're watching. All right. Yes, President Trump has won re-election in a landslide. He picked up all 7 swing states, but 6 of the 7 or something around there, they all paused magically. Oh, all roughly around the same time. They paused their vote counts. And then over the next couple hours, couple days, what have you, oh, look at this. We found just enough totally legitimate votes to get Joe Biden across the finish line. So then you jail all of his supporters that you can because they walked around a building that was opened for them. You frame him for an insurrection because then, oh, you can't have an insurrectionist run for president. Ooh, we finally got rid of that guy once and for all. Then when that didn't work, you don't get to frame him for 97 counts on trumped up charges. Have to change the legal codes to go after him. Oh, there's a statute of limitations. We'll just change the law so we can go get Trump. Letitia James campaigns on, I'm going to go get Trump. Alvin Bragg, trumped up charges. Oh, yeah. Let's charge him for paying back a bank loan. Huh? Right. Yeah. No, nobody was harmed and nobody complained. So let's throw him in jail for life. Huh? What? Yeah. President Trump called down in Georgia and said, find the votes. Remove the fake votes. Find the votes. Find what happened here. What happened to Georgia? Oh, no, President Trump's trying to rig the election. He's trying to steal the election. He said find votes. He never meant find fake votes. He's saying find the fake votes and throw them out. And then, of course, that wacky case that was taken out of a screenplay out of a script of Law and Order episode. Totally believable. And that was a civil court, not a criminal court, by the way. I don't think Obama's allowed to do that. I don't think Obama's allowed to orchestrate an assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, or shortly after on a golf course. Now, I'm not alleging that Barack Obama was involved in that. I feel that to be obvious that the cabal of 100 deep state actors were involved on one level or another of playing games, of overthrowing our democratically elected representative government figurehead. You don't get to just throw that out because you don't like it, Obama, deep state. You don't get to do that. And look at this. Look what's happened in just 6 months. We've sealed up the border and we're checking IDs at the nightclub. You know what happens to a nightclub that doesn't check IDs? They get shut down. You have underage kids who don't know how to consume alcohol, either being fed too much by groomers and predators and being abused, or people who don't know how to handle their booze, throwing up, getting in fist fights, causing damage, and opening up yourself to a massive liability. Look at Lake and Riley. Look at all the migrant crime across the country. All of the opportunities we had to filter out the poison. People with known criminal backgrounds. That's not to say every case of migrant crime was somebody who we would have been able to catch. But yeah, if you touched a kid, no thanks, country's full. Oh, you art a woman, did ya? Then go stay in your own home country. Don't bring your crap here. This is not your second chance haven. This is a college. We determine admission. This is our country. We don't get to let Barack Obama flood 30 million illegal alien invaders from parts unknown with intentions unknown into our country to permanently change the demographic and the beliefs and the ideals and the customs and the traditions and the fabric of our country. I don't think Obama and the deep state get to do that. Look at what we've done with the trade deals. Look at how lopsided it has been that America has been getting absolutely ripped off, stolen from, abused, and bankrupted under the weight of the Cloward and Piven strategy. Cloward and Piven strategy is very similar in some ways. I feel like I have a lash on my eye. I keep trying to brush it away, but I'm not seeing it. It must be in my eye here somewhere. Sorry. That was like the 10th time I'd swatted trying to find, do I have an errant hair? Do I have an errant eyelash that's obstructing my view? I don't know what it is. But you don't get to do that. And I mean, do you really get to rig a Democratic primary to make sure that Bernie Sanders isn't put on the ballot so you run a decrepit Joe Biden who collects the delegates, and then once he's secured them, you remove him and install Kamala Harris, a completely incompetent DEI hire, according to many? Oh, I can't believe you said that. Yeah. The DEI story is the story of the Democrats. They keep telling you, I'm still seeing this eyelash. They keep telling you that it's a great thing. It doesn't matter if somebody's competent. It matters what someone looks like. I disagree. I like what Martin Luther King said. You don't judge a person by the color of their skin. You judge them by the content of their character. But Joe Biden's like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick a vice president, and it'll be not the most qualified or competent. It'll be a woman of color. You know the thing. It's DEI. We all benefit from diversity. Little equity. Am I right? And inclusion. You got to get number two in charge. If something ever happened to me, you got to have just included diversity. You can't have, the thing. Come on, man. Come on. Huh? They didn't put the most qualified person. They said, oh, let's find some demographic tendencies. Let's find a couple of check boxes. Are you a woman? Okay, well then you're qualified. Huh? A man doesn't make you being a man doesn't make you qualified, and being a woman doesn't make you qualified. Being qualified makes you qualified. We gotta check the color of her skin. Huh? No, we don't. No, we don't. The resumes and talent stack and conversation, this should be done without gender and skin color in mind, except the Democrats have the world upside down. And you know what? We've been living under 16 years of Barack Hussein Obama screwing up this country. Him and his team, they ran Joe Biden's term. We know it. Him and his team obstructed Trump in his term. We all know it. And he had 8 years to screw things up when he was in there. Look at how lopsided all of our trade deals were. Look at how much money is coming in from tariffs. Look at what's happening to put our country back on track. It's possible. It is possible. But I don't think you get to commit treason and stage a coup. I'm pretty sure those are things that you're not allowed to do. So we're going to unpack the story of treason and find out what the latest is. We've been covering it since Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, told us. But every day, every story we share, everything that we talk about, it's another piece of the puzzle. It's another puzzle piece. And that's what we're about. Puzzle pieces. Putting them together here on the show. Also on today's show, we're going to discuss the Cincinnati hate crime. Yes, you saw it at the Jazz Festival. Is it too early to call it a hate crime? Well, up until this point, there's like a 72-hour rule, and we're getting pretty close to that 72 hours. If this was Saturday night, I guess Sunday morning, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, I guess maybe by tomorrow morning, we'll get through the 72-hour window to find out if those two, that single mother who got knocked unconscious by a dude of a different race, maybe she had it coming. Or maybe it's obviously a hate crime. I called the Cincinnati prosecutor's office. I'll tell you how that experience went. Also, we're going to discuss the terror that unfolded in New York City yesterday. A former football player went in to try to shoot up the NFL offices. We'll tell you what we know, and we will break it down on today's show. Hello, Nick Adams. Hello, everybody else in chat. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, however you're watching. And we will begin today's program right now.
Guide to the Truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you so much for everybody who joined us today at this very special time. I have a meeting scheduled sort of when it had to be, and so we went early. Could have went later, could have went earlier, decided to go earlier. And we're going to unpack the news. Type your comments in the chat section. See a few of you are populating the chat, and once this fills up, we will put it on the screen. If you want to support independent media, you need to follow us in more than one location, please. I know many of you do. The New American Media can be found on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D Live, and YouTube at The New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're on X at American_Media_. And please subscribe to our podcast at the Agree to Disagree Show on both Spotify and Apple. The Agree to Disagree show has been the traditional name of my news show. After working with Blake Wally for about a year, go follow him. Where's he at? Eccentric, the Next Level News. Search Blake Wally, Blake Walley. But after doing maybe 2 years of shows with Blake as the Agree to Disagree show, and it was just kind of like, well, am I a guest on the Agree to Disagree show? Are we co-hosts? Am I doing a segment? Are you producing? Am I producing? Like, basically, that era was us collaborating to co-produce, co-host, do a daily show. And the more shows we did, the more we started to kind of figure out, like, doing a show once a week wasn't enough for me. Doing a show Tuesday, Thursday wasn't enough for me. There's too much happening. Too much that I want to talk about and get off of my chest to only do 1 or 2 shows a week. For Blake, the length of shows, 60 to 90 minutes was his sweet spot. Sometimes I felt like I only started warming up. The shoulders are all right. I'm loosened up now. I'm finally loosened up. I've been practicing for a while. I've been warming up on the treadmill. Now I'm ready to go. It's like sometimes that doesn't happen for the first. I'm 15 minutes in on my intro. I'm unwinding. I'm calibrating. We're getting everything set up here. I've given a sneak peek to what's going on. I've advertised the different places to follow us. We're on path, but I mean, we're not into the show. There is a way we could go bang and just start and launch and run. And that's sort of how I'm going to do it today, but there's a little bit of whatever. And so we decided Blake would do his shows, not eccentric perspective. I guess, what is he calling it? The Next Level News. Is it called Eccentric Perspective? Anyway, go find Blake. He does a good job unpacking the news, but I started doing daily shows 6 days a week. I took the Black Sabbath and I wanted to keep it Ozzy. I'm sorry, honor the Sabbath and keep it holy, something like that. But I do like the idea of 1 day off. Although Scott Adams and a lot of people don't take days off. I don't need to take days off, but like, I think there is something to giving yourself a moment to decompress. I was listening to Dave Rubin talk with Adam Carolla on an episode of Adam Carolla's podcast earlier today. As Nimbus meows from upstairs. And yeah, Dave was saying he decompresses. He takes August off. He takes a month off, no devices. You know, I mean, I think there's something to getting out of the matrix, stepping outside of, you know, you can get wrapped up in this stuff, and the echo chamber can get really loud real quick, and it is important to get some balance. So I've kept that promise to myself, you know, and to the Lord. Just the concept of keeping the seventh day, Sunday, keeping it holy, keeping it private to myself. And honestly, I mean, how many Sundays do I spend 6 hours working out in the yard? But honestly, doing a show for you does not feel like work to me. Oh, it's work. That song 10,000 Hours by Macklemore felt like 10,000 years. It takes 10,000 hours to get really good at something. And I've been covering the news for a really long time. I've got my 10,000 hours under the belt, as they say. It is work. But like certain people have said, Nick, wink, you make it look easy. Well, number one, I'm built for this. Number two, I've been doing it for a long time. Number three, my background in sales, my background as a musician, holding a microphone, my background, sales. Oh, as a bartender. It's what I do. I communicate with people. I have fun talking. And then it's a constant struggle. It's a juggle. That's tough to say. But I say all the time, I'm juggling chainsaws. Like, I got a bunch of stuff I'm trying to keep in my head, and it's like I got to finish thoughts. I have to move with transitions. I got to roll into stories. I got to check the comments. I got to figure out how to pace and balance. There's a lot that goes into it. But all that being said, you know, you don't pay a plumber for the 10 minutes he spends. You pay him for the 10, 15 years it took him to get good at his job so that he could do the thing and have the right product and attach it so that you'll never think about it again. You don't pay him for 10 minutes. Oh, here's $20. No. It's $200 because it took him a long time to get good at it. But yeah, I don't consider this work. I consider this a civic duty. I consider this activism being the rent that we pay to live on planet Earth. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. And I appreciate everybody that joins the team. So link up with us in all the places. And if anybody wants to support independent journalism because you're tired of only dealing with propagandists, please know that nobody's put money in my pocket to tell me something I should say or should not say ever. And I'm never going to accept a deal that does tell me to do that. What I do accept is crowdfunding. On Rumble, we have our Rumble page over here. You can do Rumble rants. There's a $sign. You got to link it up to a card or something, however you want to do it. And you just click it and throw for $1 or $5 or $10 or something. It's a tip jar. I've been a bartender long enough. Come hang out at my bar. Let me entertain you for a couple hours a day. And if you had a good time, hey, maybe toss me a tip, would you? So for all the fans out there who have, thank you so much. And all the supporters out there who will do this in the future, you are so appreciated, because if we can make this show a little bigger and then a little bit bigger, this should be the only thing that I do. This should be the empire. This should be the anchor of the media empire that the New American Media has always been intended to be. Right now, we're calling it the TNAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. And we're on Patreon. It's one of those things you set it up and it's like once a month, makes a donation, and it's so appreciated. So find us on Patreon at the New American Media. Tip jars, Venmo, and Cash App at BrianEngelman. That's BrianEngelman. And then on PayPal, the email address that you type in is fuzzinstallment at yahoo.com to make a donation that way. And of course, since we were talking about Joe Biden and the totally legitimate 81 million votes in 2020, wink, wink, read the bottom. It says, for countervailing views on both health and elections, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control, because they'll tell you countervailing views. Like, every election's insecure except 2020, the one with everybody mailing in ballots and nobody getting oversight and checking, and no watermarks or numbered ballots for some reason that you can't cross-reference or scan a barcode and make sure they're legit. Yeah, go find their countervailing views. I tell you, under duress. All right, let's jump into the news and talk about what everybody's talking about in no particular order, because they're all stories that we're thinking about. Right here, Secession Studios posts this picture of Hillary Rodham Clinton saying, does anyone else find it strange? The same woman who paid for a Russian dossier to win an election. Oh, allegedly. Same woman whose husband made $500,000 for a Russian speech, who sold 20% of U.S. uranium to Russia, whose foundation received $150 million from Russia, allegedly. Isn't it strange that that same woman keeps calling other people Russian assets? I'll type in the comments, not a coincidence. Button. There you go. Saul Alinsky, one of her favorite people, says the commenter Scott Faulkner. In his book, Rules for Radicals, he says to accuse your enemies of the things that you are guilty of. Yeah. See, that's what I was telling you about a moment ago about our nation, about the Obama doctrine, to overthrow it, spend so much it goes bankrupt, flood it with illegal aliens so that the sovereign citizens of the nation are outvoted, outnumbered. It's a coup. You stage a coup of the country. You stage a coup of the world by importing radical Islam everywhere. Except it's not just radical Islam. Like that's just a component. Ask Switzerland, France, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. What did I say? Spain, Germany. I keep wanting to say Russia, and I'm not trying to. Italy. Look at all of the countries in Europe and see what's happening. It's not just an invasion of people, mostly military-aged men, which really feels like a Trojan horse. It really feels like sleeper cells getting ready to activate. Oh, by the way, did you see the story over the weekend that we covered on in November? An alien object might approach the Earth and harm the Earth and cause damage or something, or shoot Project Bluebeam up and make sure that you have a returning of your deity in the sky in hologram form who commands you to whatever, activate, wage war, commit your jihad, go on a Christian crusade. I mean, you could take this story anywhere you want. You throw a hologram in the sky. That's called Project Bluebeam. I mean, how the hell else are you going to top COVID? Are you saying that COVID was government created? I'm saying that COVID was weaponized to strip our civil liberties away. Yeah, I'm saying that 100%. Also, it was created in a Chinese laboratory, like I told you, and I got censored for saying that. I got deleted and demonetized for telling you the truth. Well, they were telling you a bat kissed a pangolin, creating a tsunami of rich chocolatey goodness outside Hershey, Pennsylvania. Go watch Jon Stewart on with Stephen Colbert for the best breakdown of the COVID crap. You were not allowed to call it a China virus because it comes from China. A lot of people say it's naturally occurring. We told Fauci, get that gain of function garbaggio out of the U.S. But he did it anyway. So we'll see if the auto pen can reverse the pardons and we can actually indict him for his crimes against humanity, Mr. Fauci. But however it was created, bioweapons lab, Fauci, gain of function, NIAID research. Yeah, offshored it. Tried to pretend it was okay, like when we said we don't torture. We just paid people to torture during rendition in Northern Africa. Like, oh no, we're not torturing. Yeah, you are. If you're paying the people that are, you're doing it. I didn't kill anybody. Yeah, you paid the hitman that killed somebody. Well, I didn't do it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did it. You were culpable. You were complicit. You were the catalyst that caused it. I want someone to clip that little thing. I don't know what it was, but I like the cadence of it. Culpable, complicit. I think cadence could fit in there too. Anyway, 3 pointing back. I've told you it's a song that I wrote. When you point a finger at somebody, you have 3 pointing back at yourself. The Democrats are master deflectors, master gaslighters. They always accuse the other people of what they are doing. They sort of tell on themselves. All right, here's a little reminder. Let's put the puzzle piece on the board and look at it. Remember when this happened about a year ago? Did we ever find out what happened to Obama's hands? Let's ask Grok. What happened to Obama's fingers shortly after his chef was found dead in a puddle? It's a puddle. All right, the claim about Barry's fingers being badly damaged stems from photos published by the Daily Mail July 28, exactly a year ago yesterday, showing Obama golfing on Martha's Vineyard. The images taken days after Tafari Campbell, the personal chef of the Obamas. By the way, imagine the arguments that personal chef heard between Michelle and Barry Soetoro, Barack Hussein Obama. Imagine the arguments and conversations that personal chef heard. And remember, this was sort of like around the time the Democrats they knew Biden wasn't an option. I forget when was Kamala selected as Democrat nominee? She was selected. She wasn't elected by the people. August 5. Just a week later. After securing a majority of the delegate votes in a virtual roll call that began on August 1st, 2024. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, she was selected. Okay, wait a minute. She became the presumptive nominee earlier, July 22. After Biden withdrew candidacy July 21. and endorsed her with enough delegates pledging support within 32 hours. Okay. Well, this was the same week that some people were saying, oh, well, if Joe Biden's not going to do it, Michelle Obama should run. Should she? Imagine the arguments over that. Understanding is that Michelle doesn't want to be involved in politics. Maybe. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So what do you do with that? Anyway, it was right around the same week. Let me continue what Grok was saying. I'm just trying to provide you the proper context here. I don't want to be reporting something that's inaccurate. So, tape or bandage on his left hand's middle finger and ring finger, prompting social media speculation about a connection to Campbell's death. Some posts falsely, we don't know. Some posts suggested the bandages indicated Obama was involved in a fight or foul play, with claims like cuts on his hands or a black eye, but no evidence supports the black eye claim. However, these bandages are golfer's tape commonly used by golfers. Is that common? Maybe. Isn't he a lefty? Because the blisters I get are on my left hand. So he signs documents, plays basketball, or golfs left-handed. Now it's saying of 24. Oh, am I a year off on this? The bandaged fingers and death of his personal chef, Tafari Campbell, occurred July 23. Okay. That happened a year before that. That would have been when there was a lot of speculation that Biden wasn't up for the task. Who else should the Democrats run in the primaries while they're getting everything together, trying to figure out who's going to be positioned? Will it be Obama? Should you will it be Biden, or will you replace him? All right. I'm telling you, some of these stories in the timelines get all jumbled up. I mean, how many thousands of stories can we discuss without having a photographic memory? Anyway, if I get blisters, they happen on my left hand. It's the grip it and rip it hand. The right hand is sort of just a stabilizing force. If I get blisters, I put them on my left hand. So if he's a righty, he would put them on his right hand. So if he's a lefty, he would be golfing that way. And the blister tape, if you wear blister tape, I've played golf for 30 years. I've never used tape. Gloves occasionally, but never tape. Wouldn't the tape be on his other hand is what I'm getting at. All right. Okay, photos from 2010, 14, and 15 show Obama with similar tape while golfing, confirming this is a routine practice. Managing friction-related injuries, bandages were golfer's tape. Tafari Campbell drowned allegedly in an accidental paddleboarding incident in Edgartown Great Pond near the Obama's Martha's Vineyard home. Water was about 8 feet deep, not a puddle. Okay, Grok, geez. Or 3 to 4 feet, as some posts claimed. Massachusetts State Police and medical examiner found no evidence of head trauma, suspicious circumstances, or foul play. And the Obamas were not at the residence during the incident. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Obama was present. See, Grok is hallucinating. Obama was present at the time of the drowning. Grok has that wrong. Let's see what Grok does to conflicting information. Yeah, initial reports said they weren't there, right? Judicial Watch report says Obama arrived at emergency response scene via motorcade shortly after he went missing. and was present for a witness interview the following morning at his residence. Obama was involved in the immediate aftermath, but do not confirm he was present at the exact moment of the drowning. Secret Service agent made the call. 7:46, they found the body the next day, 100 feet from shore in 8 feet of water. Some posts claim Obama was on the scene at the property during the drowning, citing Judicial Watch, but these claims are inconclusive. Okay, so where was Obama at the time of the missing person call then? Smart guy. Here I am debating with AI. I'm debating with Grok. Exact location at the precise moment is not definitively stated in available records. Okay. And so they were not there. Anyway, so this is a story. Hang on. I think there's some good context here. About 2010. Here we go. I'm going to post this. Context from Grok. Because maybe if we're misreporting this story, we should ease up on it a little bit. I don't know. I don't tape my fingers when golfing like an offensive lineman. I just don't. Maybe you do. All right, here's a post from 300 Guns. Dear God, you took one of my favorite wrestlers, Hulk Hogan, my favorite trumper player, Chuck Mangione, one of the craziest metal singers, Ozzy. I just want you to know that my favorite governor is Gavin Newsom. By the way, when we were talking about Kamala Harris, when Joe Biden said we're going to select a woman of color as the vice president instead of we're going to select the most qualified human being, since you're one heartbeat away from the most important job on earth, you want the most qualified, not somebody wearing a purple shirt, not somebody with size 7 shoes or other totally random, irrelevant data points. Yeah, skin color and gender is irrelevant in most regards. Competency should matter. But yeah, they said Karen Bass, Los Angeles mayor. Listening to the Adam Carolla show, they could have had that builder. Forgetting Caruso. First name, something. Not Robinson. Something Caruso could have been the person. They chose Karen Bass instead, allegedly. I wonder how many of these big blue cities are just rigging their ballot counting to overthrow their states and make sure that their cities remain Democrat rule for 80 to 100 years with no interruptions. Seems a little sketch, especially since conditions never improve. Nobody's lives get better. Why would you keep voting for the same bad thing? Make that make sense. But yeah, I guess Karen Bass was also on the short list because she was a woman and she was not white. I'm sorry. Those are not qualifications to be the leader of the free world. Being not white is not a virtue. Nor is being white a virtue. Not being white is not a virtue either. And what you're packing in your pants has nothing to do with the job. So, yeah, it was a reminder from that Carolla podcast that Karen Bass was on the short list in Kamala Harris, who may run now for California governor to replace Newsom. Caruso, a builder with great properties across Southern California, would have been awesome during those fires. Adam Carolla talked about how Caruso had, what is his first name? It's not Robinson. It's not, guy who ran for LA mayor last. His name is Caruso. Rick Caruso. He had a private fire agency protecting all of his shops. He has like these big shopping mall plaza things. They're really nice. They're really clean. They're well maintained. I know. I used to live there. I used to go there to the Grove. They're nice. They're like nice mini cities where things are clean, organized, nice. It's not rocket science. He had private fire brigades spraying flame retardant onto his properties and made sure that none of them burned during the wildfires. And they had that done 2 days ahead of time because they knew how bad the winds were, knowing that one little spark could ignite everything. They also said that because of insurance rebates, if you employ a private fire department, yeah, we're going to lower your interest rate, or we're going to lower your we're going to lower your premium rate on your insurance because you're taking care of the property. So it was cheaper to have the private fire agencies with the insurance discount than it was to roll the dice and not do that. That's how you think. If you're smart, that's how you think if you care about Los Angeles and California. So they could have picked Rick Caruso, but they picked Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, and now maybe Kamala Harris. I mean, there's a reason why so many people like me had to flee that place. Goodness. So yeah, favorite governor, Gavin Newsom. Hey, did you catch this one? This was a very recent video. Here's a radical on a plane. Are they all radical? I mean, some people say that religion is a government. It's a form of government. Sharia is the plan. Islam is the tool. I don't know. But here's an Islamist making an easy jet flight. What's an easy jet? Imagine you're on the plane and this is what's happening.
Going to bomb the plane. Death to America, death to Trump.
He says, I want to bomb the plane. Death to America, death to Trump, he says.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Huh. It's almost like there's a trend emerging, a pattern.
Allahu Akbar.
What do you do? What do you do if this is a training scenario? What do you do? If life is just a video game, what do you do next? If you're on this flight, type it in the comments. What would you do?
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Down on the ground you go, pal.
Sit down. Don't move.
Yep, time for the zip ties and the body search. People, there are forces of evil at play that want to cause harm to innocent people. We can't put our heads in the sand about it. It's happening whether you want to admit it or not. And we're going to talk about the guy who offed himself on the 33rd floor of the Blackstone building. They said he was attacking the NFL. Maybe. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. We'll unpack it. All right, here's Benny Johnson.
I'm telling you, something just crossed my feed that gave me chills. It has some dark and wide-ranging implications for what we're going to be covering in the next couple of months. Get ready for some bombshells. Dan Bongino's most chilling post yet, saying that he was shaken to the core and that Dan Bongino is literally scared about what they've just uncovered.
Too much music in the background. As it pertains to the deep state corruption, during my tenure as deputy director, I repeatedly relayed to you that things are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. I'm going to type make things happen button. Sorry, I would play this for you, but there's music in the background, and this generic music keeps getting flagged on copyright for YouTube. So go check it out. Can't play it because I don't know if it's readily available for use. But Bongino's giving hints that they're working on stuff. So it's not like we're saying the Epstein case doesn't matter anymore. No, but I don't think anybody has said that. I think what they are saying is let them cook. Give them a second. They got a lot of stuff to work out here. A lot of things to clean up, and there's a bit of an order it needs to go into. And Trump did mention, I got, this could upend a bunch of things, and I got a lot of deals in place. Who knows the king's involvement, but the Prince, Andrew, Great Britain, did any of that play a role in the deal that was just cut with trade? So all American products go into the UK with no tariffs on them, so that goods coming in from the UK get a 15% tariff slapped on that we collect. Bongino said, you can't run a government like this. You can't, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but what if this Epstein thing that allegedly has been going on since back to Iran-Contra, if not earlier, in the 80s, 50 years of this stuff, 40 years of this stuff. What if you're just negotiating based on what you have, and you're negotiating stand-down orders, and you're enacting justice? Just maybe it's a different way. I don't know. I don't know for certain, but it is possible. All right, Miss Muckraker has a couple stories here. Trump gives Putin a deadline of 10 or 12 days to end the Ukraine war. Well, we saw last time Trump gave a deadline, said, oh, maybe within a week. And it was like the next day he attacked Iran. He attacked the nuclear systems, allegedly. 6 bunker busters on 3 facilities, I think, 2 of them each. He said something like, within a week, I'll do the thing. And then he did it the next day. So if Trump's saying 10 or 12, I would consider negotiating an end to that today. Because the way it looks, I don't think Putin's going to stop. That's at least the signal that Trump has given us. To what degree are we supposed to end this war? I mean, you break it, you buy it, sort of. Victoria Nuland, Barack Obama, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Burisma, all of the overthrow of Yanukovych, 2013, 2014, installing their puppet Zelensky. I mean, in a way, the United States definitely broke Ukraine, and it's appalling, and I'm ashamed. Oh, you just say you're ashamed because you don't know the deep state plan. If you were really an American, you just let the deep state cook and do what they want to do. Yeah, because they make the dollar purchase power better. Show me where that happens. They're stealing from us. They're involving us in never-ending wars leading to hundreds of thousands of body bags. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. Let them cook. They are cooked. They're overcooked. Anyway, keep your eyes peeled on Putin and Trump's order to give him 10 or 12 days. That was yesterday, so we'll see how it shakes out. Zoran Mamdani says abolish property, but he lives in a $2 million Chelsea apartment. Mamdani says defund police, but he has armed guards protecting him. Mamdani says eat the rich, but his parents are also both millionaires. Yeah, that's communism in a nutshell, according to End Wokeness. Libs of TikTok asking about, can we talk about Somalians being in public office across the country? A Mohammed, and Abdil, a Dalek, a Nar, a Hassan, a Hussein, and a something. Matt Van Swole says, stop what you're doing and look at this chart. Stop scrolling, look at the data. It will blow your mind. Immigration to the United States by region. Look at this. The immigration to the United States has been Europe. That's blue. And then, wow, a ton from Asia in the 1950s. Even more, Mexico. Even more, what was that, Caribbean? It's so small here on the screen. Central America. Oceania. Africa, the most imported nation. Why? We were a mostly European nation until the 20s, 30s, 40s. World War II. Did we win the war or did we not win the war? Breaking, Miss Muckraker says, Bill Clinton went to Epstein's Island 28 times per President of the United States. Donald Trump turned down the opportunity to travel to Jeffrey Epstein's Island per Axios. That was smart. Eric Daughtry says, holy crap, J.D. Vance nukes the mainstream media for asking about he and Trump shielding pedophiles via the Epstein list. Quote, we're not shielding anything. There's an interesting thing about this case that the American media seems to totally ignore. For 4 years under Biden's Department of Justice, the media didn't give a damn about the Epstein files or the Epstein case for literally 20 years. J.D. Vance nailed it. They don't care. It's just a political game to them. Amit Siegel says a report published by the U.S. House Judiciary Committee states that it's likely U.S. government funds indirectly financed the protests against the Netanyahu government, allegedly in violation of U.S. law. The government is indirectly funding the protests against Netanyahu's government. The report further reveals that nearly $1 billion were transferred over 4 years to an anti-Netanyahu NGO in Israel, or to several of them. Oh, this was under Biden. Oh, yeah, Biden, Obama, they are not a fan of Israel's right to exist as a nation, of Netanyahu, of... the report also claims the Biden admin funded organizations in the region with ties to terrorist groups. An example diagram illustrates the flow of money to protest movement against the judicial reform. USAID, State Department, Department of Defense, the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors, PEF Israel, and Blue White Future. Okay. Netanyahu says there's no starvation in Gaza, no policy of starvation in Gaza, and I assure you that we have a commitment to achieve our war goals. They will continue to fight until they achieve the release of their hostages and the destruction of Hamas's military and governing capabilities. They shall be there no more. President Trump came out and said the opposite, said he sees starvation. So we'll see. President Trump says the United States will now be ramping up aid and assistance to Gaza because of starvation. All right, good. There we go. That's exactly what I was going to tell you. American Academy of Pediatrics just released a policy statement advocating for the elimination of all non-medical exemptions from immunizations as a condition of school attendance. Oh! In an act of desperation, it appears that the AAP is pulling out all the stops to strip away your rights. This should alarm everyone. Despite your beliefs, states should not be in full control of your children's health. So yeah, time to pull your kids out of school. Shut this stuff down. We're not cattle, and you don't get to treat us like cattle. Although some of the rulers, the air quote elites, think that we are. Secretary Kennedy said the 1986 Vaccine Act gave vaccine makers immunity against lawsuits by children who suffer vaccine injuries. The statute and numerous subsequent court decisions recognize that vaccines, like all medicines, are, in the words of the American Academy of Pediatrics case, quote, unavoidably unsafe, end quote, and that a percentage of vaccinated children will suffer injuries or death. Congress, therefore, simultaneously created the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, VICP, which obliged HHS to compensate injured children. In the words of then Labor and Public Welfare Committee Chairman Senator Edward Kennedy, another Kennedy, when children are the victims of an appropriate and rational national policy, a compassionate government will assist them in their hour of need. Under the VICP, vaccine victims can petition for compensation to the so-called vaccine court, which pays out awards from a trust fund endowed by a 75-cent surcharge on every vaccine. Congress intended that injured children be compensated quickly and fairly for injuries, either presumed or proven to be causally connected to vaccines, with doubts about causation resolved in favor of the victim. To date, the vaccine court has paid out $5.4 billion to 12,000 petitioners, but the VICP no longer functions to achieve its congressional intent. Instead, the VICP has devolved into a morass of inefficiency, favoritism, and outright corruption, as government lawyers and the special masters who serve as vaccine court judges prioritize the solvency of the HHS trust fund over their duty to compensate victims. Oh, Shocking. Where there's a financial incentive, you have people rigging the system and tilting the scales of justice to make sure that the complicit people don't have to pay. The structure itself hobbles claimants. The defendant is HHS, not the vaccine makers. And claimants are therefore facing the monumental power and bottomless pockets of the U.S. government represented by the Department of Justice. Furthermore, most of the special masters come from the government, legal or political posts, and typically display an extreme bias that favors the government side. There is no discovery, and the rules of evidence do not apply. The government lawyers do not allow children's attorneys to access the vaccine safety data link, a taxpayer-funded CDC surveillance system that houses the best data on vaccine injuries. Attorney compensation in the hands of the notoriously biased special masters and often hostile government attorneys who can leverage this power to turn petitioner attorneys against their clients' interests. The VICP routinely dismisses meritorious cases outright or drags them out for years instead of quickly and fairly awarding compensation. They're torturing victims. You wonder why Luigi case happened. You wonder why people are angry at insurance companies that are screwing over the people that they're supposedly designed to help. Can't condone vigilante stuff, but like, if you're going to try to ruin someone's life, I mean, what do you expect? If you started a war by butchering 1,200 concert goers in Israel, what did you expect? Oh, they're so heavy-handed. Huh? They started a war and now they're finding out. They effed around and now they're finding out. No. See, Israel effed around in 1947. Now they're finding out. Okay, I see what we're doing here. Okay. That's why I don't even cover the issue. There's two groups of people and they talk past each other. There's no starting point. There's no like, hey, we were at peace yesterday. You declared a war. Nope, you declared a war when you moved in here. Okay. So be prepared for the narco cartels to constantly attack Texas, attack California, New Mexico, Arizona. Oh, see, no, you started the war. Yeah, I know we're blowing up buildings and we're butchering 1,200 people at your concert festivals, your music festivals. But you know what? If you didn't get this land all those years ago, it would still be our land. So you're the ones that deserve the fight. Huh? How about don't start a fight? Yeah, well, you stole from us like 100 years ago. You weren't there. I wasn't there. I didn't steal anything from you at all. We woke up in a world, in a situation. You were the one making the chaos. Shout out to Deb, not from San Francisco. But they're torturing these people. They said instead of quickly and fairly awarding compensation. Oh, let me put the comments on the screen. I didn't do that. Yeah, early birds. I was saying our regular time was moved earlier today. I could have went earlier or later, but I got something right in the middle, so I got to do it. And like I said hundreds of times, at some point this show might move into the evenings. I don't know. At late afternoons. I don't know. Early mornings. I don't know. But everybody has to do the things that they have to do. And you do the things you want to do when you want to do them. It's about priority. If we can 100x this show, maybe this can be the priority that comes ahead of everything else. We got 100x this show. So tell your friends, please. Share the contents. Drop your comments and support us, please. Thank you so much. So, yeah, instead of quickly and fairly awarding compensation, the special masters dismiss over half the cases of vaccine-injured people. Most of those that proceed typically take 5+ years to resolve, with many languishing for more than 10 years. No, fuck that, fuck them. No, There is nothing quick and fair about dragging this out for 5 years when you've got a disabled child or adult on your hands. You are trying to get through your day and that product fucked them up. And now you're going to screw them over by dragging a case out for more than a decade? No. We have got to undo whatever this 1986 thing is. We need a new conversation around the V's. You weren't even allowed to talk about the vaccines. Holy shit. I still have this hair in the corner. It's not a floater. It's like I can see the hair on my eyeball. It might literally be on my eyeball. Maybe I'll just use some droppers and roll the eyeballs around. Social media silenced us if we tried to talk about vaccine hesitant. Oh, well, even if they're telling the truth, it might increase vaccine hesitancy, which would lead to fewer people giving us money. I mean, doing the health and safety thing. Who cares? We're allowed to talk. It's America. And what we went under during that Biden regime, those dark days of Biden for 4 years, unacceptable, unforgivable. We've got to course calculate, and it looks like Bobby Kennedy's ready to course calculate. Course correct. Often taking more than 10 years as parents struggle to care for children suffering with often extreme disabilities. Petitioners' attorneys complain that the special masters make punitive downward adjustments to attorneys' fees and medical expert fees to punish effective advocacy. Expert witnesses for injured children complain that they suffer intimidation and even threats that they'll lose professional status or NIH funding if they testify for injured children. This is madness. This is insane, if true. The government pays its own medical expert witnesses promptly while simultaneously slow-walking payments for petitioners' experts, sometimes for years. The VICP is broken, and I intend to fix it. I will not allow the VICP to continue to ignore its mandate and fail its mission of quickly and fairly compensating vaccine-injured individuals. I am grateful to be working with AG Pam Bondi and HHS staff to fix the VISP. Together, we will steer the vaccine court back to its original congressional intent. Thank you, Bobby Kennedy. So what do you think about that? Are you excited for what Bobby Kennedy's working on? Question of the day, type it in the comments. Do you think Bobby Kennedy is going to be able to make some sort of positive adjustment to this vaccine compensation, vaccine issue across the board? He's very versed in this realm. Are we black-pilled on health and vaccines, or do we have some sort of confidence or hope that they're doing something right and that they're going to make this better? What do you think? I want to tell you, look, like if people are just going to get completely hung up on the Epstein thing at this particular exact moment, guys, it's been 6 years since he's been gone. We can wait another moment. This administration is cooking on a lot of other things. I still want justice. I haven't changed on that. But do we trust the regime that caused all of that, those hundreds of thousands? Well, the Epstein thing goes back to the 80s, I'm saying. So like multiple generations of people, multiple decades. But I mean, hundreds of thousands of trafficked humans, trafficked into work slavery or sex slavery or torture or worse. What's worse than well, do we trust the Biden, Obama, Harris, Mayorkas deep state regime, or do we trust Bongino, Bondi, Patel, Trump, Kennedy? Well, let's give you an update once again of something that the Trump team did accomplish in the realm of human trafficking. In one of the most aggressive and successful anti-child exploitation crackdowns in U.S. history, President Trump's Justice Department has revealed the results of Operation Grayskull, a sweeping international strike that dismantled 4 high-traffic dark web platforms trafficking violent child sexual abuse materials, exposing a digital cesspool that included over 120,000 registered users and millions of illicit files. So their Operation Grayskull just took down a massive. Now that's great that it's down, but how do you track the 120,000 people? How do you find the people that are participating in this? And I'm very leery. I'm very leery, as any of you should be, when a government claims, oh, this person had a file on their documents. Did they? Oh, look, it's on their hard drive. Look, it's on their computer. Is it? There's backdoors built into everything, and you really? Okay. I mean, like that is, it's obviously something we want to stop everywhere it's happening, but it's also one of the easiest things to fake. That's been it's been a widely reported, just like Julian Assange. He's like, anybody could accuse anybody of doing anything. Doesn't mean it's happening. Some lady accused him of something, and Assange was silenced for 15 years, right? 10 years? 15 years? Deb's like, I don't know. Do I believe Bobby could make some change in the vaccines? I don't know. Blue body, raised arms. But look, Operation Grayskull has taken down this international site, international strike. 120,000 registered users, millions of illicit files. Go after the people. Look into the rest of their lives. Are they doing can you confirm this stuff? Bravo to that. I didn't even hear this story. Police say multiple people shot in a casino in Reno. Well, I shot multiple people in Reno just to watch them die. Suspect is in custody. AP. I didn't even see that story. CIA Director John Ratcliffe suggests indictments and potential prosecutions may be forthcoming for John Brennan, Hillary Clinton, James Comey in connection with the Trump-Russia collusion narrative conspiracy. They better. Democrat scientists want to make you allergic to steak. A new bioethics of coercion report. Suppose a group of scientists propose engineering mosquitoes to infect people with a virus that causes intense nausea whenever they lie. Huh. Yeah, that's what they're doing with tick bites, trying to make you allergic to meat. Like, dude, there's demonic shit. Blotting out the sun, making humans sterile, making sure we don't eat red meat. Like, the sun is good for us. Families are great. Steak is great. Red meat is great. Who are these demons that keep fucking with everything humans are supposed to be doing? I'm over it. I am absolutely over it. So thank you to those reports from Miss Muckraker. Here's another one from Fox News reporting. The Trump admin took action to protect children, according to Fox News. In just 6 months, ICE arrested 214 illegal alien child sex offenders in the Houston area. That's just in one city. More than the Houston field office arrested during all of last year. Oh, my Lord. Keep vacuuming up the human filth that abuse kids. Button. All right, so that's another accomplishment. Good job. Thank you. Now do this in every blue city. Raging West says, today Trump called out Sadiq Khan for doing a terrible job as London mayor. He was right. Less than an hour later, 2 innocent men, 27 and 58 years old, were murdered in a mass stabbing attack. Khan has blood on his hands. London has fallen. The UK has fallen. Justice for Holly. I hate having to show you this photo. But there was a black mob in Cincinnati, Ohio, after a jazz festival that appeared to target 2 white people to abuse them, to attack them in what appears to be an obvious race hoax. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying race hoax because most of them are. The desire for white on black crime is nowhere near the media and the Democrats' desire to crank it up 100%. Ours go to 11. Yeah, they have to manufacture so much of it because they have such a demand. trying to find things to get outraged about every single day. Well, here's one right here. God, if I got knocked out, sucker punched, a black dude sucker punched this lady. Similar to what happened to Ashley Babbitt. Didn't have a weapon in Ashley's hand. Some black dude shot her in the head, in the neck specifically. The only shot fired on January 6th during that mostly peaceful protest where some people did some things, mind you. But if you got knocked out in what appears to be a hate crime because of the color of the skin, all the people swinging and stomping were black. All the people getting abused were white. Either hate crimes work every way or they don't. If a group of Indians were attacking 2 Chinese people, that would be a hate crime, right? Because if hate crime only exists to once again batter white people because white people bad, that's not a real law. That's not reality. That's not life. So Vivek Ramaswamy trying to be governor of Ohio. This happened in Ohio. Vivek says, I spoke to Holly earlier today, the woman tragically assaulted in Cincinnati this weekend. She's a single working mom who went to a friend's birthday party. It's unconscionable that there were no police present in that area of Cincinnati on a Friday night, or even an ambulance to take her to the hospital. Hardworking Americans shouldn't have to worry for their safety when they have a good time in our cities. Holly said not a single local or state official had yet reached out as of earlier this afternoon, other than one police detective. Leftists like to lecture about systemic injustice, while thugs turn our cities into war zones. I'm done with their excuses. As governor, I'll make sure they're behind bars, not running wild. Our cops will have the green light to restore order, no apologies. Holly appreciates the kind words and prayers from patriots across the country and hopes that the publicity around her story ensures that local and state leaders clean up our failing cities. We hope to visit Holly soon as she recovers. I called. This is the number. I would encourage you to call. We asked Grok. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait. Oh yeah, this one. Right here. So apparently we asked Grok for the Cincinnati district attorney who is in charge of prosecuting this case and asked for the phone number where they can be reached. The Hamilton County prosecutor is Connie Pillich, and the office phone is 513-946-3000. If you could jot this number down and just call it and ask to see that they're going to be filing hate crime charges, because the stories on social media are that the Cincinnati Attorney General or the prosecutor is one of these woke prosecutors that doesn't throw the hammer at violent monsters. They want crime in their city, so they don't punish the criminals. I don't understand it, except that the deep state Democrats want violent cities. The reports online are that the Cincinnati prosecutor is a waste of space. Waste of space. I don't know her, and I don't know that to be true. I go in assuming nothing. So I made a phone call. They transferred me to an office line, went right to voicemail. I called back. I said, I wanted to talk to someone. Oh, that is how you talk to them. You leave a voicemail. Well, do we know when they'll get back to us? No. So if you could jot this number down and make a phone call and just ask, hey, I watch these disgusting racist attacks against white people in your city of Cincinnati. 5-10 different black people stomping and knocking out this lady. This is a hate crime. It was a mob, a swarm of black people in Cincinnati attacking 2 white people. Now, we haven't crossed into the 72-hour rule. Maybe these 2 people were perpetrators. Maybe they were the ones that started the fight. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe. But we're trying to find out. What is the Cincinnati prosecute? What are they up? What have they determined? And will there be hate crime charges in this case? Because if they were attacked just for being white, you throw the fucking book at these people. Or you don't. Either you don't like seeing 10 people of one race beat up 2 seemingly nonviolent people of another race. I don't think I even saw these people swing back in self-defense. Could have missed the beginning of the video. We don't know what we don't know. So I'm not calling for riots and pitchforks and torches. I'm calling for a question. I'm calling for the viewers out here, Nick and Deb and everybody else. By the way, however you're watching, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Call them up and tell them you found this video to be sickening to your stomach. A group of 10 people of one race beat up 2 people who did not even defend themselves of another race. It feels like an obvious hate crime. Will you be charging these perpetrators with a hate crime? Because this seems to fit the exact definition. I think that pressure needs to be there, and I think those conversations and questions need to be there. Once again, the phone number for anybody, please jot the number down. Please make a quick phone call. It only takes a second. Just say, can I speak to the Hamilton County prosecutor, Connie Pillich, Pillich, and just you want to know if hate crime charges are going to be filed. Office phone number 513-946-3000. And if you do, please type in the comments. Let us know that you called and tell us what you were told. Leave a voicemail, leave your number, ask them to call you back. Put the pressure on them. Because the story is that Cincinnati's a woke city, and they're not going to defend white people getting curb stomped. That's attempted murder when you stomp a skull, by the way. You knock a woman out to crash onto the concrete, that could be an attempted murder. World star. Yeah, life in prison. This is not America. This is bullshit. May or may not be race related. These 2 people might have had it coming. I'm open to all sorts of additional information. But we're on the 3rd day into this investigation now. You've arrested 4 or 5 people. Are hate crime charges being filed? So please call. All right. This is what we're talking about. Do you want to get attacked for the color of your skin in a Democrat-run blue city? No police present, no prosecutor that's going to lock up the violent individuals and keep them locked up. You don't dump crazy people back on the streets. You keep them locked up for their safety and for the safety of the rest of us. I don't know the criminal backgrounds of the people that committed these atrocities in Cincinnati over the weekend, but I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law right now. J.D. Vance speaking on the Cincinnati attack.
There was a group of people who attacked a couple folks on
a group of what people attacked a group of what folks? There's additional information.
On the street in Cincinnati. Senator Bernie Moreno, some others have spoken out about it, have been critical of it.
Okay, yes. So what I saw, and I haven't seen the full context, but what I saw is a mob of lawless thugs beating up on an innocent person, and it's disgusting. And I hope every single one of those people who engage in violence is prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And they will be. They will be so long as law enforcement in the state of Ohio takes their job seriously. I know Dave Yost cares a lot about these things. But yeah, I actually, you're right. Bernie did send me a clip of this, and we talked a little bit about it. I don't know the full context. I don't know how the fight started. But the one part that I saw that was really gruesome is you had a grown man who sucker punched a middle-aged woman. And where I come from, at least, when you have a grown man who sucker punches a middle-aged woman, that person ought to go to jail for a very long time. And frankly, he's lucky there weren't some better people around, because they would have handled it themselves. But if they're not going to handle it, the cops in Cincinnati, the law enforcement, you've got to prosecute people. We've had way too much lawlessness on the streets of great American cities. How many of you all...
I don't know where I got it, but referencing our great American cities, that's exactly what I said when I was on with Real America's Voice. But then I kind of forgot how the segment finished. Something like our great American cities. Oh, I don't see the... Oh, I used to have it queued up here. Where is it? I must have moved it. I either said like our great American cities are under attack, or our great American cities are falling apart. Our great American cities. Can't find it. Oh, well, I was going to share it with you, but he used that term, our great American cities. Because I am not a blue American. I'm not a Democrat. I just love America, and I love our cities. I hate the violence. I hate the crazy fuckwads that mess it up for everybody. Zero shame in calling for the monsters to be thrown in prison. Zero shame. We have a right to travel. We have a right to enjoy our lives without being attacked. And if you can't do that, you know, you become subhuman and you need to be in a cage. You lose your privileges.
Have wanted to go to downtown Akron or downtown Canton or downtown Columbus for a meal, but you're worried because the local authorities in these big cities have...
Cleveland, so many people say that they're not going downtown. It's too dangerous. They're letting the crazy people verbally assault everyone and scare the shit out of the people that are trying to spend money. No wonder why the Cleveland Browns moved out of there. They're moving to Brook Park. They're building their own city down there. Well, it has to do with a lot of factors, but you got to fix the cities and keep them clean. You got to keep the dirtbags in a cage. It's anyone that's being violent out there. You lock them the hell up. I don't understand why Democrats support lawlessness and violence.
Have allowed lawlessness to run wild. We have got to make great American cities safe again for families and children. If you want to take your wife or your children out for a meal, you shouldn't be worried about street violence. And the only about this.
There was a group of people who attacked a couple folks.
Okay, it reset, but yeah, good job, JD Vance. This is President Trump in the United Kingdom.
The president makes it look easy dealing with illegal migration. You must be envious of his record in such a short period of time.
Well, I think we've been discussing irregular, illegal migration is a huge issue in both of our countries. In the United Kingdom, it is a real cause for concern, and that's why we must bear down on it.
Starmer is stammering. Fire Starmer ASAP. It is easy. It is easy. All you have to do is care. President Trump getting love in Scotland.
Really excited to catch a glimpse of the President of the United States. I think I really admire what he does for the US. He really is backing and standing up for his people and what's right for his country. So I only hope our Prime Minister could take a little bit of advice or inspiration from him.
And we're just super excited to get a glimpse of him today, and we'd be even more excited to get to meet him.
I've traveled to Scotland from Germany in order to record President Trump's motorcades. So far, I've been to Turnberry a few days ago, and now I'm here in Aberdeen.
Ever since there's been, you know, the fake Russia hoax, the assassination attempt from last year, all the kangaroo court hearings, all of these things, they've just made me double down on the man himself, the resilience that he has as a character.
We're all Trump supporters. A lot of the media reports that all Scotland hates Trump, and not the case. We think the majority of people are for.
I'm really excited to catch a glimpse of the President of the United States. I think I really admire what...
Yep. People wish they had a strong leader running their country. ICE has arrested over 200 illegal alien child sex offenders in the Houston area in the past 6 months, as we said. Former Illinois Democrat Party Chair Mike Madigan sentenced to 7.5 years in jail and a $2.5 million fine for bra fined for fraud, bribery, and conspiracy. He led Illinois Democrats as Obama ran for Senate and president. Thank God Obama's under investigation. Madigan, 7.5 years. He led Illinois Democrats as Obama ran for Senate and president. Yeah, we talked about the American Academy of Pediatrics calling for a nationwide ban on religious and personal belief vaccine exemptions. Only 3% of kids have exemptions. Most families already choose to vaccinate, so why the push to eliminate choice? It's not just about vaccines, it's about whether parents still have a say in their child's medical care. Do we protect public health through trust and transparency or by force? Should personal freedom be sacrificed in the name of public health? So at this time, here it is in Cincinnati. Suspects identified, 4 or 5 of them have been arrested in Cincinnati. Charged 5 people. Okay. But charged them with what? Here's Scott Jennings.
We're getting a live update from Ohio law enforcement on that brutal attack over the weekend on the streets of downtown Cincinnati. You may have seen this terrible video where a mob beat up 2 people in the street. This morning, the Vice President of the United States weighed in on this case. Here is J.D. Vance.
What I saw is a mob of lawless thugs beating up on an innocent person, and it's disgusting. And I hope every single one of those people who engage in violence is prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And they will be. They will be so long as law enforcement in the state of Ohio takes their job seriously. I know Dave Yost cares a lot about these things.
I'm sure that you have seen circulating in your social media this weekend the video of the brutal attack on 2 people in downtown Cincinnati. This is going crazy on different social media platforms. We are joined by the Attorney General of the state of Ohio. Dave Yost is here. General Yost, thanks for joining us here on the Scott Jennings Show. First of all, what is going on? What is the story of this attack? Who are these people? Who are the attackers? And what do we know so far?
Actually, we know very little. The police department announced an investigation over the weekend, and we're all going to be looking to find out some about this. But if you saw the video, it is just a savage, cruel beatdown of a guy. He ends up on the ground in a fetal position and is surrounded by a group of thugs that are raining down fists on him, kicking him in the kidneys and the head while he's covering up and trying to protect himself. Another lady's cold-cocked and just laid out in the middle of the street. You can see a trickle of blood coming out of her mouth. This is not a fight. This is not, the kind of thing that happens once in a while in a society. This was an amazing display of savagery.
So people are on it, but like I said, I gave you the phone number to call, see if you can put the pressure on as well. Rand Paul says the best way to sort this out being all sorts of things here, because Paul signals Jill Biden, Anthony Fauci could be looked at in the AutoPen probe. Rand Paul says the best way to sort this out is to take Anthony Fauci to court and then indict him for lying under oath to Congress. He will indicate he received a pardon, which will open the pardons in the AutoPen scandal up to scrutiny. Let's freaking go. Dallas Mavericks player Kyrie Irving says the world is a stage and there are a lot of terrible actors out here. If you're not a real person and you can't stand on morals and principles, get out of the way. Check out that video. Did you see this one? Real State of America reports Immigrations and Custom Enforcement arrested a Jamaican illegal alien invader who was hired and working as a Maine police officer. The fuck is going on in Maine? You're letting an illegal alien invader onto our American police force. Maine needs an enema immediately. You let an illegal alien invader try to police us, try to police Americans? Oh, hell no. Maine, wasn't that the place where the president called out that lady, that butch lady about keeping men out of women's sports? What is going on in Maine? Do you want an illegal alien, non-American citizen pulling you over with authority to kidnap you and throw you in the back of a car, to charge you with something and ruin your life? Hell no. This guy was hired and working as a Maine police officer after he tried to buy a gun. If that story is true, I don't even know what to make of Maine and our country. Joey Manarino says, since he's taken office, President Donald Trump has brokered 4 major peace deals. India and Pakistan, which could have gone nuclear. Israel and Iran, which everyone thought would lead to World War III. The Congo and Rwanda, with a peace treaty being signed in the Oval Office. Thailand and Cambodia, which could have become a major disaster. 4 wars ended in 6 months. Legendary. Ben Geller says, breaking, rejected again. Senator Chris Van Hollen, you remember him, and other Democrats tried to storm into an ICE facility in Baltimore, but were turned down. So they're doing a sit-in. The Democrats' all-time low just keeps getting lower. Daily Caller reporting that Team Obama is quietly trying to stop Americans from hearing about Russiagate revelations. Yeah, you're busted, Barry. Former Barack Obama's former aides reportedly hope to conceal rapidly unfolding revelations about the apparent conspiracy. It is apparent conspiracy between Obama and his top intelligence chiefs to pin President Donald Trump to Russia from the wider American public, according to an NBC report. DNI Gabbard declassified documents in recent days revealing the spun or manufactured intelligence undergirding a 2017 intelligence community assessment directed by Obama and executed by his top intelligence officials, Central Intelligence Agency Director John Brennan, CIA Director John Brennan, Federal Bureau of Investigations Director James Comey, and Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, concluding that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to secure a win for Trump. Gabbard said that she had made a criminal referral to the Department of Justice related to the domestic intelligence operation against the then president-elect, which she described as a years-long coup and treasonous conspiracy against the American public. Yes. Now, Obama's allies hope the American public never learns the details, according to NBC, citing anonymous sources in the former president's camp. Quote, the battle now is to play this. This is a weird sentence. Quote, the battle now is to play this even, to make sure that thoughts don't start to creep into more mainstream audiences. End quote. A former Obama administration official told the outlet. Indict all the traitors. Button. Okay. This is the scene, yes. It's at, what, Blackstone was in this building? Here's the shooter. CNN called him white. He's not white. I don't know what CNN's fascination with demonizing white people is, but my God, I am beyond sick of it. This is a decades-long problem at CNN. Anti-white hatred. You look at the dude. He's a black guy. Whatever. He's a guy, but he's a black guy. They actually reported him as a. Well, I'll show you the clip. Oh, yeah. So the tenants in the building were the Blackstone Group. Yeah, the Blackstone Group is linked to all sorts of things. Yes, he offed himself on the 33rd floor. Blackstone, the rulers of the world, the puppet masters, 33rd degree. I don't know. Any of that connected? Oh, and the NFL. And I think Rudin Management has offices on the 33rd floor. Shooter was identified as a 29-year-old Shane Tamura of Las Vegas. More details coming. That was the scene. Active shooter. New York yesterday. Prayers to all those involved. It's terrible. There he is. I mean, clearly a black guy, but CNN called him a white guy. I mean, not that it really matters. It's just a guy that shot up a place.
Worst case scenario is.
Here's J.D. Vance talking about the invasion of America with Joe Rogan.
A state adopts Sharia law of Islamophobia.
Yeah.
Really need to understand what that means
That's
and
right.
what you're talking about. And to say that that's an outrageous and ridiculous idea that's never going to take place, it's kind of already worked its way into some societies.
It has.
It has.
It has.
And there are, is it Minnesota that has call to prayer?
There is a place in Minnesota, I believe, where they have prayer calls as a matter of local government. I do think that's happening.
That starts getting real weird.
Yeah. Well,
Stuff like that starts getting real weird. And when you have people that are openly saying our goal is, and they've talked about this in Toronto, like activists have said, our goal is to outbreed everyone who is not Muslim and vote it out and put Sharia law in place.
What happened to a gay couple in Gaza? Executed according to Islamic law. Islam doesn't endorse gayism. Islam doesn't endorse homosexuality. Okay, so would you like to see Sharia law in Canada replace Canadian law? At some point it will. You know, because we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Your population is going down the slump, right? By 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then? We owe our allegiance and our loyalty first and foremost to our religion, not to the Queen, to be honest. When I went for my so-called oath, I was silent, I didn't say anything. It was your responsibility to make sure you got it out of me. So when I didn't say anything, I'm not liable to any. Just like you had a Muslim, a Western majority nation in a land of Native Americans, one day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada, right in your face.
That's very scary.
Women have to wear burqas. This is how it works.
Yeah. Real religious tyranny is increasingly in Western societies where you've had a large influx of immigrants who don't necessarily assimilate into Western values, but try to create, I think, a religious tyranny at the local level. And if you think that won't happen at a national level, you're crazy.
Norm MacDonald. What terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans. Imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims. You know? Because that would terrify me. Not the 50 million Americans dead from ISIS, but the backlash against peaceful Muslims, you know? It's a great joke from Norm MacDonald.
Worst case scenario is
one of the greatest to ever tell jokes. All right, talk about the deadly shooting. Oh, this is the Reno attack. Okay.
Condition at this hour. The suspect is also being treated at...
Wait, is this the Michigan stabbing suspect or the... God, there's so many attacks. Are any of these attacks coordinated? Could they be? You're damn right they could be.
A hospital. Meantime, authorities in Traverse City, Michigan say they plan to file terrorism and assault charges against a man accused of a knife attack at a Walmart Saturday. 11 people were stabbed. All are expected to survive. The suspect was detained by witnesses. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin is in Traverse City tonight.
The suspect in the Walmart attack, Bradford James Gilley, generated...
And by the way, for anyone who wanted to compare those previous stories and put some assumptions into me or anything, check this story out. Bradford James Gilley looks like a white guy. I don't care what people look like. I care how they act. The dude that stopped the knife attack was a black dude. Awesome. Everybody should be carrying. We are all the first responders. And he showed a lot more patience than maybe I would have. That guy's actively stabbing things. He is a clear and present threat. Clear and present threat. You could have easily tapped him and taken him to the ground and waited for police to get there. This guy talked him down. I didn't see the end of the video. Amazing trigger discipline. Why would I believe that guy wouldn't charge me? Of course I would believe that. He's charging everybody. He's a nutcase. And he's a white guy. I want him thrown in jail for the rest of his life. He's a nutbag. I don't want crazy, violent people harming innocent people anywhere. There's never been a racial component, a religious component to anything about how people are supposed to act in society. the religious component in society with Sharia is that it's incompatible with the American Constitution and Bill of Rights. It doesn't work here. So you don't bring people in here that want to change our country into a place that has a Sharia law, because you can't. You can't balance our Bill of Rights, our Constitution with Sharia. So Sharia stays out. And no, not only a certain type of person can be a Sharia fan. That could be all sorts of people from all walks of life. So this Bradford James Gilley thing, I'm not defending this dude more because he's white. I'm not defending him less because he's white. I'm just assessing the situation because I'm reading it objectively. A thing happened, and I feel a certain way about it. Oh, by the way, there's demographics involved. If you're leading with the demographics, well, I think you're missing the point.
At least 26 criminal cases over the last 19 years.
Okay, right there. This dude has had 26 criminal cases in the last 19 years. You don't get to let people like this out. They are broken mentally. They need to be in a cage. They need to be in some sort of mental health facility for their own safety. And most importantly, because I don't really care what an attempted murder is. I care that much about your civil liberties. What I care about is protecting the general public from demons. 26 criminal cases in 19 years.
Including 2016, when he was charged with disinterment and mutilation of dead bodies.
Okay. I'm sorry, what?
As well as malicious destruction of tombs and memorials. The judgment was not guilty by reason of insanity.
So he what? What did he do? He went to a... Anyway, I'm not gonna go on. It looks like he went to a... The dude's a nutcase.
On Friday,
he's not guilty by reason of insanity. So then he lives the rest of his life in an insane asylum. You don't let him out. Oh, well, you're too crazy to be convicted. All right, back out to the streets you go. That's what Los Angeles was doing repeatedly.
At 5 p.m., Emmett County Sheriff's deputies were given a court order to pick him up. Sheriff Matt Learson wrote, deputies of the Emmett County Sheriff's Office spent Friday evening patrolling and actively searching for Gilley. Unfortunately, their efforts were unsuccessful. The search continued Saturday. Just before 5 p.m., Gilley surfaced 90 miles away, allegedly stabbing people randomly in the Traverse City Walmart.
I think it's fair to say that anytime you have someone that commits an incident or an act like this, there is some sort of mental health issue involved.
The sheriff says the weapon is a 3.5-inch folding knife. A group of shoppers confronted Gilley. One of them, Derek Perry, briefly served as a U.S. Marine. He pulled a gun and they held Gilley in the parking lot of the Walmart until a sheriff's deputy arrived.
I cannot commend everyone that was involved enough. When you stop and look at from the time of call to the time of actual custody, it actually was the individual was detained within 1 minute.
Gilley is now in the Grand Traverse County Jail, facing 1 count of terrorism, 11 counts of assault with intent to murder, 1 for each stabbing victim. And Gilley was arraigned today. He pleaded not guilty and asked for a court-appointed attorney. As for the 11 victims, none of them were killed. 1 was released today. 1 is still in serious condition. 2 were transferred for other...
Just awful. Absolutely awful. We've got to get control of this. You can't release violent, crazy people back into society. Fox News report that foreign sources knew the FBI would spread the Clinton plan before the Trump-Russia probe even began. RFK Jr. talking with Charlie Kirk, saying that the only way to rebuild trust in vaccines is to admit that they can cause harm. I mean, how did we get to this point where we're ignoring reality and we're all expected to live in a false reality? I just don't get how we got here, but let's just fix it already. He says HHS needs to stop gaslighting the public by pretending that injuries don't happen and start showing compassion to the families affected. Is Trump a genius with his tariffs? Doggone music. Top economists. Well, anyway, they're saying he might have outsmarted all of us on the tariffs. Tons of money coming in, as it should be.
And says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked, because I've been going through abuse for years on this. Because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
But Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
I think they should go back to business school. We took in $88 billion in tariffs. They have so much money coming in. But more important than the money coming in, we have companies coming in, factories coming in, auto plants being built. AI is being built here instead of being built all over Europe and Asia. We have all of it.
Yeah, and then there's music in the background. What was this? Mike Ben's thought about Epstein. Okay.
This entire thing,
keep it in the news.
No one is talking about and shouldn't be.
I think it's the Alex Acosta transcript at OPR. When you look at something like CIA stonewalling files, which is a very, very common thing. I've even had things around this with folks in government about just how difficult it is to get files from the Central Intelligence Agency when they don't want to show you something. There's lots of bureaucratic tricks. I mentioned this in the Bruce Rappaport case where they stonewalled official requests until it was yanked out of them under threat of criminal punishment by the Justice Department. In this case, Pam Bondi could walk down the hallway to the Office of Professional Responsibility. There was a 21-month investigation about Epstein's intelligence ties that was already done by the Justice Department. And the fact that all of the files around that investigation are still under seal at the Justice Department.
There's music. It's not right. We have a right to know that it's still sealed under the Justice Department. It's easy to do. It's not going to require sifting. For decades of CIA financial transactions, it's not something that you can blame anybody else for. It reports directly to the Justice Department. I think everybody needs to demand this, and Pam Bondi, next time there's a microphone in her face, at a podium, needs to be asked, did you retrieve the Alex Acosta transcript from November 2020 that specifically asked Alex Acosta about Jeffrey Epstein's intelligence ties? If you haven't asked for it, why not? They report directly to you. If you haven't, when are you going to make that document public? All right. Trump has the chance to do the funniest thing here. Zohran Mamdani had a posh wedding at a secluded Ugandan compound. Mamdani became a citizen during Trump's first term. Part of the naturalization process is to undergo a Form N-400 application, an interview wherein they're questioned about any communist or totalitarian affiliations they may have. The Immigration and Nationality Act specifically bars communists from gaining citizenship. Did Mamdani lie about his affiliation during his naturalization process? Because if so, that's grounds to strip him of citizenship and deport him back to his home country of Uganda. Not joking, that's where he's from. It's the Communist Control Act of 1954. Eric Prince says, if we are serious about defending this republic, then this needs to happen. Citizenship is a privilege and not a right for every third world invader dragging demonstrably doomed paradigms along with them. All right, so what say you? Agree or disagree? Should President Trump revoke citizenship on Mamdani? All right. In the UK, they're buying crossbows.
Story in the mainstream media, that's for sure. Crossbows, bows and prepping gear. Brits are not playing Robin Hood. They're preparing for collapse. Let's call this what it is. Brits are quietly arming themselves, not with guns or knives, but with something legal, silent and symbolic, the crossbow and bow and arrow. Now, these aren't just hobbyists. Sales have spiked since 2023, and prepping forums are flooded with people asking about survival kits, home protection, and yes, crossbows. Why? Because trust in the system is collapsing. You see, the government tries to...
And they've disarmed their people. I mean, there's going to be a revolution in the UK. They have to defend their country, else it's been overthrown. By the way, this is a whole post here about the mob beatings that have been happening for months in Cincinnati. The city's not investing this. I'm sorry. Families moving as soon as we can. The violence is spreading rapidly. The city's ignoring it. Live in Dayton, just north of Cincinnati. I listen to Cincinnati radio every day. These mob beatings have been happening for a few months. The city admin is soft on crime, and I suspect the mayor, I vaguely remember him from college at Ohio State, remains silent because this gig is just a stepping stone to bigger elected office. These mob attacks, it goes on. There's post after post about these things have been happening for a while. Sean Farash says, we owe the rest of the world precisely nothing. So when we level the playing field with the rest of the world on trade and tariffs, I told you how great the trade deal was yesterday with the UK, with President Trump. The rest of the world on trade tariffs, please spare me the sob stories about the U.S. bullying other countries. We've been ripped off for decades. Those days are over. And we said, yeah, traitorous Republicans and Democrats have been selling America out for personal profit. No more. Western Journal reporting dozens of Christians are slaughtered in Africa after Islamists find them worshiping at night. That's not good. This is the person CNN called a white man. I don't know what their fixation against hating white people is. I just don't get it. Scott Adams says, looks like the oligarchs are eating most of the tariff costs. Trump taxed the oligarchs while Bernie and AOC jetted around complaining about them. But Trump also opened new markets for the oligarchs via trade deals. They win too. It's called the Golden Age. I agree. Everybody's winning. Yep, the Academy of Pediatrics, another post. Nope, resist. Mom Dami says we don't need an investigation to know the NYPD is racist, anti-queer. Anti-queer? Nobody cares who's banging anybody. What is wrong with these arsonists, these racial arsonists? And they pivot to religion. They pivot to sexual tendencies and proclivities. He's calling the NYPD anti-queer. For what? Lunatic. Zoran says they're a major threat to public safety. We need to defund the NYPD. No fake cuts. Defund the police. Also, I'm heartbroken to learn of the horrific shooting in Midtown, and I'm holding the victims, their families, and the NYPD officer in critical condition in my thoughts and prayers. Oh, are you? Because you're calling to end the police instead of putting more police out there to arrest the dirtbags. New York Post reporting gunman Shane Tamura used a Palmetto State Armory AR-15. I don't care what he used. Here it is. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department concealed firearms permit. That's the guy. Looks a little bit like Derrick Rose, the basketball player. Here's Zoran Mamdami. New York, do you want to defund the police or no? Here's an interesting thought on this story that CNN wants you to hear.
You hear that? That is the sound of freedom.
Oh, the sound of freedom.
We needed to create a space and a place where we could be a village again.
She wanted to create a space and a place where they could become a village again.
A tribe again.
A tribe. A very welcoming and inclusive tribe.
So Renee and Ashley reached out to family and friends and together bought what they intend to name Freedom, Georgia, a new black city.
Oh.
The owners hosted the Big Black Campout over Labor Day weekend. You hear?
Big black city and a big black campout. Now, if white people create a whites-only town, this is segregation, the media would say. How much of a problem is our legacy media? This is the guy who played football. New York City shooter Shane Tamura was once a high school football star, winning 6 awards and later playing in Canada. The building he targeted today housed the NFL headquarters. And it turns out that he had a note on him, a rambling post about
Here is the
chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and he apologized to someone and said, please study my brain. That's what Junior Seau did. Is football causing schizophrenic breaks, violent breaks, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, brain bruises? Is football safe to play? Should we keep playing it? I don't know. By the way, I want to show you this, the least surprising story from the Palisades fires.
Latest insanity over here in the LA fire zones. Squatters are overtaking vacant lots that burned down, like this one right behind me here. This guy set up a whole campsite and I guess actually went down to the DMV, listed this as his address on his driver's license, and the property owner can't get them off. The police even showed up and they said, we can't do anything about it. It's got to go to the courts. Here's another one right behind me. This is two right across the street from each other. Squatters who have overtaken these properties and the homeowners cannot get them off of the site. So if you're in Pacific Palisades or Altadena, I'd get some security fencing up right away, or you might lose your property to a vagrant and the county isn't going to do anything to help you.
And that is why I sold my condo in Los Angeles and got the hell out of there. I couldn't rent knowing that you can't evict your tenants. You know what? That's an upside down world. I'm not participating. I gotta bail. And for these reasons, I'm out. And I bailed. Had to get the hell out of there. Just couldn't take it. There's no sane universe where someone could squat on your property and get away with it. You walk up to them, excuse me, what's your purpose here? I'm squatting here. All right, you're under arrest for trespass. Let's go. This isn't complicated. Oh, I bet you're jealous, Keir Starmer, of President Trump and his immigration, protecting his country from invasion. Yeah, it's easy. All you got to do is do it. What's up, Sid? He's saying, what's up with Pam Bondi? Still no arrests. Despite the DNI's revelations, a big yes to the revocation of citizenship for the would-be New York mayor. Yes, I agree on the mayor thing. Either those questions matter or they don't. You don't want a filthy commie coming in here and ruining America. No thanks. And yeah, still waiting on the arrests. Free crab tomorrow. Painted on the side of the building. There's never free crab today, just free crab tomorrow. It's a funny gag, but it gets old. I agree. Where are the arrests? Hey, remember when the Democrats kneeled for the violence 5 years ago? For George? Yeah, so much for the Cincinnati couple this weekend. Did they do that? Anybody kneeling for this innocent group getting attacked? No, I don't think so. That's that jihadist, Muslim extremist yelling Allahu Akbar, death to America, death to Trump. There he goes. Take his ass down. More and more and more of this. Byron Donald's
Congressman Crow saying that
about what Pam Bondi needs to be doing. Here you go.
You know, everybody knew everything they needed to know. This isn't new. Your reaction?
My reaction is first to Mr. Crow. This information might have been there, but are we going to assume that the Biden administration was going to bring the necessary investigations? Understand, Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama. We know the history. And if it is Barack Obama's administration that ordered a new intelligence briefing, not based on any facts or any merits, but based upon the Steele dossier, that demonstrates why the former presidential administration under Joe Biden did not look into any of this, because they were covering up for the previous Democrat administration. That's number one. Number two, we all know that the Steele dossier was fake. And then when they ordered a new intelligence briefing, it was then Mr. Brennan who was overriding senior intelligence officials in the intelligence community who did not want to even go down the road of substantiating claims that the Russians were putting up Donald Trump as a stalking horse. That is the facts. Those are the histories. The reason why it hasn't been investigated is because Trump's first administration was frankly under a firestorm for 4 years dealing with the false intelligence from the Obama administration about Russia. We know the Biden administration wasn't going to investigate that. I mean, for crying out loud, they did everything wrong. So now it's left to DNI Gabbard to release the documentations and then also provide the referrals to the Department of Justice so we can finally get a true accounting, a true investigation. And then if there were criminal activities, people need to be prosecuted for that as well.
Congressman Crow saying that, everybody knew everything they needed to know. This isn't new. Your reaction?
Oops. Sorry.
My reaction is first to Mr. Crow.
All right. Yep. Indict them all button. That's what I'm rooting for. They've all earned it. Tom Homan setting the record straight.
I want to add one thing that you won't hear in the media, and I've been pushing it and no one's covering it.
Okay.
The last administration released 500,000 children came to this country, separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels to be trafficked into this country. The last administration lost track of 300,000, couldn't find, or they weren't returning phone calls, weren't when they checked up on them, they just weren't there. So President Trump committed, we're going to find every one of these children, and I've said many times, many of these children will be with family, they'll be safe, they just left because they don't want to go home. Some are going to be in forced labor, some are going to be in forced sex trafficking.
Gross.
Guaranteed, because my 40 years, that's what I know is going on. We've already found 13,000 of these kids, over 13,000 of these kids. And we got over, the sponsors, we got 40 criminal prosecutions going on. Some of these children were in trafficking. They were either labor or sex. Many of these children were safe, but we already found over 13,000 of them, and we're not going to rest till we find every one of them. That is one of the things President Trump gave me 3 things to do: secure the border, run a deportation operation, and find these children. So I want to give you that update because I know you'll post it and you'll talk about it. We already found 13,000 of these kids, so God help, we'll find every one of them. I want to add one thing that you won't hear in the media, and I've been pushing.
Fingers crossed on that. We all hope they're going to be able to find all those missing kids. Yep, the guy on the rampage with the rifle and a flak jacket. So there was something wrong with his brain. Let me tell you what ESPN said. I had the article pulled up. Oh, geez. Major League Baseball labor short stoppage. Okay, well, that's Biden lying about the scam. And this is Jesse Ventura talking about forced vaccinations. Check those out on our Instagram feed. Final story. Gunman who killed 4 people at a Manhattan office building before killing himself was trying to target the headquarters of the NFL, but took the wrong elevator. Officials said Tuesday. Investigators believe Shane Tamura of Las Vegas was trying to get to the NFL offices after shooting several people Monday in the building's lobby, but accidentally entered the wrong set of elevator banks, Mayor Eric Adams said in interviews. 4 people, including off-duty New York City police officer Didarul Islam, were killed. Oh, 4 people were killed. I thought it was 4 shot, but most of them survived. Tamura, who played high school football in California nearly 2 decades ago, but never in the NFL, had a history of mental illness, police said. A 3-page note found in Tamura's wallet suggested he had a grievance against the NFL over a claim that he suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. The degenerative brain disease has been linked to concussions and other repeated head trauma common in contact sports such as football, but it can only be diagnosed after someone has died. In the note, Tamura repeatedly said he was sorry and asked that his brain be studied for CTE, according to the police department. The note also referenced former NFL player Terry Long, who was diagnosed with CTE, and the manner in which Long offed himself in 2005. The note accused the NFL of concealing the dangers to players' brains for profit. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell called the shooting an unspeakable act of violence in our building, saying he's deeply grateful to law enforcement officers responding and the officer who gave his life to protect others. Increased security. Anyway, just senseless violence. Sprayed the lobby with gunfire, killing the off-duty police officer. Hit a woman who tried to take cover, then went to the elevator bank, shooting a guard at the security desk and another man in the lobby. Appeared to have first walked past the officer, then turned to his right, then saw him, then discharged several rounds. NFL employees had to shelter in place of the 44-story building. He took an elevator to the 33rd floor offices of the company that owns the building, Rudin Management, and shot and killed one person on that floor. He then shot and killed himself. Blackstone Company confirmed that one of its employees, real estate executive Wesley LaPatner, was among those offed. Islam was a 36-year-old immigrant from Bangladesh who was serving as a police officer. Should you be able to be a police officer if you weren't born in the country? He's been in NYC for 3.5 years. We talk about politicians if you need to be born in the country. I was a victim. Prayers to any innocent person, of course. And they're going to continue investigating. Also, Hall of Famer and beloved Cubs star Ryan Sandberg has passed at 65 years old. So that's the story. That is the story. And for now, I'm going to press pause until tomorrow. Plan on being here at noon tomorrow. We'll see how it shakes out. In the meantime, follow us in the other platforms. Toss something in our tip jar if you're feeling, here you go. The link's at the bottom of the screen. Toss something in our tip jar if you're feeling generous today. Okay. Yeah, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We're on Patreon at The New American Media, Venmo and Cash App at Brian Engelman, and PayPal. The email is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. If you want to toss something in our tip jar. Anyway, got an appointment. Got a meeting. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Stay safe out there. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Ha 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 ha!